First Timothy 1 verse 5. Now the end of the commandment is charity out of a pure heart, and of a good conscience, and of faith unfeigned. As mentioned before, for several decades, I have been living in goodness, and it is this point that God appreciates. You understand why this path is so difficult. The difficulty lies in the circumstances I face, not knowing each time if I am hearing God's voice, and even unaware that the hydrogen peroxide incident was the beginning of the confirmation of 4794. If I had known earlier, things would have been easier to handle, because when a person knows the outcome entirely, decision-making becomes more effortless, but I had no clue. It turns out that since we became believers, we must learn to cherish goodness and the new life born in our faith, remembering how much we value and how much we are willing to sacrifice for it. That's what matters most. As I said, it is only in times of adversity that one truly understands what true faith in Christianity means. Otherwise, they will spend their entire lives without understanding, thinking that exercising faith is simply multiple choice in life, but in many cases, faith is not a multiple choice question. In any case, even if it's a dead end, you must keep moving forward, and find ways to navigate this difficult path. In truth, over the years, whether facing hardships or investing in Bitcoin, is there ever a designated path? Even after more than a decade, no one understands the scope of my knowledge. Just like Bitcoin, where is the road ahead? You have to forge your own path. Throughout the entire process, I have seen God's guidance, and even years later, you will say, this must be God's guidance. The reason is that the process is incredibly supernatural. Until now, no one has been able to keep up with that. Now that you know the truth, of course, you feel relieved in your heart, but during that process, God cannot openly reveal it. If we were to know in advance, the life built upon it would be false. Because the motive becomes too heavy, once it involves personal interests, a different character emerges. However, what God desires to cultivate is our character. So, when it comes to changing our nature by making decisions, many people can't even achieve the first step of repentance in their faith. Many people live their lives and choose according to their conscience rather than fighting against it. Even at a particular stage, their perspectives may change permanently. It is essential to know that when I say, good, now, it comes from my heart, and I genuinely feel good. On the contrary, many pastors may say something is good, but it is just pretense and insincere praise. Because they know that if they don't say it, others won't view them as pastors. Think about it, can these people enter heaven? Remember, humans are created by God. We must consider why, after creating humans, God chose to implant an exciting characteristic, that human cannot hide anything from God. Why can God examine the hearts and minds of people? It is because God highly values the quality of life born from the hearts and minds of people. And why does God pay attention to every prayer in people's hearts? Because God values and cherishes the process and outcome of transforming the human heart. Of course, we deeply understand that. This outcome is to be like God in completeness, and this is the secret. However, unfortunately, when I say this statement, many people do not understand what I'm saying. They also never comprehend throughout their lives. How different is human nature from the life of God? In the process, humans need to go through numerous moments of repentance and execution, making a firm resolution to resist all obstacles at that moment, and to demonstrate our wholeheartedness before God. If God has high expectations for us, there will be a continuous momentum and significant events. If the expectations are not high, we will only be able to achieve the title of a father of faith like Abraham, without acquiring any other titles. For example, God could have allowed Abraham to live to be 200 or 300 years old, and he would have become the father of longevity, and so on. What is impossible for God? He is the true God. Imagine how many choices and possibilities there are in this world. But Abraham obeyed God, trusted God, and went forth, and he became the father of faith. Similarly, why does the Zion Church have the confirmation of the shared message numbers 9, 2, 3, and 2, 6, 6? It is because God continually challenges us, constantly pushing us to try, and it has never stopped. Of course, over the years of trying and taking risks, it all originated from the message of Zion. The most classic among them is Aerial Gundam. Suddenly, the Aerial Gundam became a message we shared, and everything mutually confirms each other. God can do all this to such an extent. It is amazing, and it cannot be replicated at this level in any other way. In the world, apart from this path, over the past few decades, another path could not be duplicated, that is equally remarkable, incredible, and filled with prophecy. Indeed, it is as if God is acting with you in a play, living your life in this manner. It is entirely unexpected. Undoubtedly, the God we believe in is such a great God. 1 Timothy 1 verse 5. Now the end of the commandment is charity out of a pure heart, and of a good conscience, and of faith unfeigned.
Nothing truly lasts forever, not the kingdoms nor their laws. For this mortal body shall perish, but not what's locked in our hearts. Blessed are the ones who decide to give, regardless of all they have been owed. Requires much strength of mind, and takes a heart of gold to admit your wrongs and repair the rift of spirit and the soul. We're promised life eternal, this life we gain 100-fold. This life we gain 100-fold.